from the Northwest Harnett precinct, and I have been concerned about our water. And attending these meetings, I have heard what you said, Mr. Wood, about our supply, and especially on the sewage treatment end, surpassing what we are currently permitted. And so one of my concerns has been exactly this. What are we doing to pair the growth of these buildings, the number that we're permitting, the number we're allowing, to be able to handle what we currently have, given that we've heard that it could take up to 5 years to bring these new plants online. More specifically, what my concern right now is for our area is we don't have water flow. It's really, really difficult to stand there and watch, if you're farming, to watch what it takes to fill up a 5-gallon bucket. I actually haven't done the measurements, but anyway, so I don't know exactly how this fits into this particular approval of this ordinance, but I do want to let you know that citizens are concerned.
Right.
And every day we drive around and we're seeing trees taken down, more building coming, and we're thinking, how in the world can we do this when we're not even adequately being supplied?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Thank you.
Mr. Chairman, can I address that?
Sure. Thank you, Mr.
I was just going to say, you're correct on that. There's no question about that. The thing we need to understand is you developed a rural water and sewer district. And rural water, when it starts out, a lot of times they are 2-inch and 4-inch lines. And the reason for that is they're only designed for potable water. And the problem is those lines are inadequate for fire protection. But it also means that as more people move in, those smaller lines, it's very difficult to maintain pressure and that sort of thing. So at some point, this county will have to start looking at possibly paralleling lines along there and things like that, because those lines were never designed for large-scale subdivisions. And that's and our policy, just so you know, is right now that a developer has to get the lines to his property at an appropriate size. And that is a problem for some of them, because it may be that they have to run a mile or more of larger water line to do that. But that is going to be an ongoing issue. It is in every county that starts out with a rural water district, and that's how most of them started. I've worked in 2 other counties, and one had a fairly extensive system, and we had the same issues. So that will be an ongoing issue for us. But these developers will have to put in the lines, not just within their development, but to get it from the nearest reasonably sized line over there to where they have adequate pressure and flow. If not, then we'll have to look at, is there some other way to serve that area? Or we may say we can't accommodate that on our system. And then if they want to look at a private system, they could look at that. But your point is well made, and it's going to be an ongoing issue.
Is it something that you can tell us when that would start to be looked at?
Well, we actually have a policy now, and so it's done on an individual basis. In other words, if a developer goes out and buys a 100-acre tract, obviously one of the first things he should be looking at before he writes a check is, can I get water and sewer here? And he should hire an engineer who's going to give him a cost estimate on what it's going to take to see if that's a viable project for him. So it'll actually be individual decisions by developers into particular areas as they go to buy a piece of property and prepare for development.
I understand that, and I appreciate that. I guess what my follow-up question is what is being done for the people, for the private homes that are on the water lines now, that we already are impacted. And I think I understood you to say that will be something that will need to be addressed.
Yeah, well, ultimately what's going to happen is if in areas where the lines are there but they're too small, then the county's going to need to look at that, because at that point the county owns those lines. And so if it turns out that down the road they're inadequate, then we'll need to address that.
And that's my question right
Okay.
there, is when is that going to start?
Can I address that?
Yeah.
It's constantly happening. We're always planning for every area of the county. 95% of the county residents have access to public water now, which is an amazing accomplishment in a rural county.
Yeah.
So it's not like the plant's undersized. It's at 42 million gallons per day, which is a huge water plant for a regional water system, especially in a rural county without a major metropolitan area. So from that standpoint, a lot of planning's already happened. It will continue to happen. Let me say that future development will actually accelerate growth of water supply into remote areas of the county. So in this instance, sewer is another issue. That's a different animal. But the extension of water because of development will actually help that process going forward. So it'll make it much easier because of development's involvement in, like Mr. Wood explained, upsizing lines to meet the county's fire flow requirements of 500 gallons per minute. The upsizing of these lines allows the utility to then attach on and extend even further to serve the most remote areas of the county. So I think that will be pretty much covered. But we're consistently planning and looking at other areas of the county and upgrading our system because of hydraulic limitations.
I appreciate that. I'm not trying to beat a dead horse.
Sure,
but
sure.
My sense is that we have a need that can't wait until there's a development coming in our area to help drive this need. So I just want to put that out there on the table.
Right.
Let you know that we do have that concern. Thank you.
Understood.
Thank you. Anyone else? Yes, ma'am.